man.
That's right. So everyone in my family went to Alcorn. So, but yeah, man, going to that game all the time at the end of the season, Alcorn versus Jackson State, right? So I mean, just the knowing of Jackson State and my brother and all those guys played at Alcorn. So I mean, it's just the passionate fans at Jackson, man, at both schools at Alcorn, and I wanted to go to a school to where I had to play at least one of them. So,
Okay.
and Tennessee State offered me that opportunity.
Well, I totally understand. Well, first of all, I know automatically. So I'm going to call my cousins down there because they're going to be excited because, like, one thing about them folks in Wiggins, they all stick together. And I'll tell
That's
people
right.
that by going down there, it is one of the most amazing cities of the level of educated Black people that are in that city.
Yeah.
That's small. But everybody, and Coach, listen, when I say, and Coach know, and this problem with his family too, they start off as preachers and teachers and end up as doctors, lawyers, and coaches. So that's what's so amazing about Wiggins. And, proud that to know that, like I say, I'm super excited when I saw that you're from Wiggins because I know how great people are. Like I said, I'm Brelands, like I say, that's my family's lineage and everything. So I'm related to all of them down there. So that is
it's a ton. It's a ton for sure.
I tell you one thing, Coach, one quick story. My grandmother, who was married to my grandfather, he's a Breland. So we went down there to go visit his grave. So I was in college at Florida A&M. So, you come down 49 and then you get off in the other highway to get down to Wiggins. So we pull up and, I hadn't been to Wiggins since maybe I was young, but I kind of remember that back road because my Aunt Rosie stayed back in the backwoods. Okay. And there was this white guy. And I said, we're looking for the Breland land. And the white guy said, the colors or the white? I said, well, hold on. Wait a minute. My grandma jumped out there. So I said, wait a minute, bro. We about to do that down here. So, so what I'm saying is just how strong the fight of the people down there. So I want to say that. Now, Coach, one of the things that doing the research and things, now, I'm going to pull something up because one of the things, now, Coach, you went viral, right? You know you went viral. Did you know this? That you went viral?
Yeah, I think from that first game, right?
So listen, guys, let me tell you something. See, when you come from Wiggins, Mississippi, you let people know exactly who you are. So, Coach, I'm gonna pull up something. I'm gonna need you to give a play-by-play on what happened right here. Let me pull this up. You guys,
I thought you were gonna surprise him, Cameron, and tell him you was his uncle. You know what I mean?
Oh, you great start some shit.
Can you guys? Is that Rock? Is that Sharon?
Yeah, it is.
Okay. All right. So, Coach, you were playing Skip Holtz's team. Now, who's Coach Holtz coach?
Who was his coach?
Yeah, who's Coach Holtz? What team does he coach?
Birmingham.
So apparently that you all had met at a previous time, and this is what Coach had to let him know. So, Coach, hold on one second. Wait a minute.
Good job, Coach.
Shannon Harris. Run that back. Hold on.
What?
Head coach.
Good job, Coach.
Shannon Harris.
You told me at the head coach. You told me I was a doorman at the head coach. No. I told you. You told me I was a doorman. No, sir. You told me I was a doorman. What? You told me I was a doorman. No, I did not.
Now, Coach, now you from Mississippi.
Yeah.
I feel every bit of that in your voice of how you want to make sure that any man is going to respect who and what you are. So, Coach, how did that come about? And just for me to see your players, how did you feel about your play, the way they felt, which I think kind of propelled going forward of who and what you are coaching those young men and they supporting you. So kind of talk about how that happened and you being a coach and a Black man, because like I said, this is HBCU Coaches Corner. We're talking to Black coaches, of how you wanted those young men to know to always be respected.
Yeah, I tell you, man, and we talked about it, and we've kind of swept it all under the rug, from the league itself and how all that stuff went down. But but to your point, though, we all want to be respected, and having that first opportunity to, I mean, these guys are 3-time champs, right? I mean, they've been the king of the spring. And I admire and respect everything that their organization, what it does, and even from Coach for what he does with with their team. I mean, he's played three different quarterbacks throughout the course of their career there, and they won three different championships. So that was the biggest thing, and it just it hurt me for something like that to have happened at that moment because in this coaching fraternity deal, man, you always respect guys. Yeah, you competing and want to beat everybody on your schedule, but at the same time, you just want to go out there and make sure that you put a good product out there and show that you belong, right? And so, that opportunity that came up, and like how you saw it, man, it was something that happened back in the headquarters, and like I said, man, we kind of went through that spiel and we kind of done swept it under the rug and then talked about it and talked it out. So I respect those guys. Also, Mike Jones on that staff, who's a Tennessee State alum as well, who played receiver, played in the NFL quite time. He's their receiver coach. So, he and I, we talked about it as well. And,
Mike played back there when we was in school.
Yeah. Yeah. So, great guy, man. Great guy. I respect him a ton. And again, I mean, I respect what those guys do over there at Birmingham still today. And it was a big win for us, an emotional win because one, it was our first one and my first one as being the head coach. So a lot of emotion came out of all that, man. So
well, yeah, Coach, and I did not bring that up. I want to be clear on this. And this is a lot. I did not bring that up for the myth. I brought about the strength of you letting your young men that follow you to understand that we came to fight, no matter who there's across the field, and they're going to respect us. That's more what I saw, not the part, again, in any of the outlandishness with people. But I respected the fact that you were going to stand your ground to let people know, hey, I'm here to coach just like you. And again, I'm pretty sure Coach Holtz is a great guy and stuff like that. But me, again, knowing where you came from, knowing your lineage and who and what you are, again, you've coached at many HBCUs, you're coaching a lot of African-American players. I appreciate the fact, and I like the fact that your players was right there with you saying, yeah, Coach, we with you, Coach.
Yeah, man. Of course, there's so many great coaches out there that don't get the opportunity, right? And the biggest thing was just more of just show that we belong as well, And Coach Barlow showed that as well, our first year in 2023 and us going to the championship game that year. But that's the thing. When you get opportunity, you want to make sure that you put your best foot forward at it and then just show everyone that you belong at the table.
Well, that's awesome.
I want to commend you on your outfit. You put your quarterback outfit up and went shopping for your head coaching outfit. I like the outfit.
Hey, man, he was sharp when he coached.
Yes. He come from the cold tree.
You know what? And listen, Coach, I know you probably saw it. It kind of reminded me, well, again, friend of the show, Coach Robinson, when he said, hey, he ain't swag. I'm swag.
That's right.
It gave me that same energy.
Yeah, it's funny you say that, man, because man, one thing at HBCU, man, or swag or wherever it may be, you're gonna have style and swag, right? So that's the one thing that playing at Tennessee State or just even coaching in the swag, man, has taught me that you're gonna have some style and swag for sure.
Yeah. Hey, Coach Harris, let me ask you this. Speaking of that, about your HBCU experience in coaching, right? Mm-hmm. It seems to me that whether it be Johnnie Cole, Reggie Barlow, Shannon Harris, Willie Simmons, so many, what I would consider great coaches, they somehow, of various different reasons, they end up not being part of HBCU football at some point. How does the best coaches in Black college football end up coaching in other places, doing other things, when they have had so much success, and it somehow seems like other guys get opportunities? Can you talk about what your journey has been? Because it seems like to me, Coach, with your pedigree and the success you've had, you would have had an opportunity to be a head coach at an HBCU, but it just hadn't happened that way.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. Oftentimes it doesn't just happen that way, man. And you just gotta stay in the fight, man, and keep working at it, keep working on your craft, and then eventually, when that opportunity comes, you just be ready for it and go full task at it. But But you're right. A lot of guys don't get those opportunities for whatever that reason may be. I don't know. Sometimes it's just, whatever that university, they have their own picks and who they want. And so you just got to be, continue to be prepared and, have a plan when that opportunity comes. And then you just work the plan and you just stay the course, man. You can't get frustrated, can't get upset from and all of that stuff. You just got to keep working at it. With our players this year, we kind of talked about it. I showed them this video, the team, and the video was more of like, the guy saying, I didn't get this job, and his reaction was good, or I didn't get this promotion, and the reaction was good. Or I didn't get this or get that. It's always good. Maybe I need to work at something better. Maybe I need to do something like this to create more value for myself. So that was just my mindset as well, just knowing that, the opportunity may come. If it doesn't, I'd be okay with it. But I'm gonna continue to work and prepare and not just sit there and not prepare and be content with where I am because my mindset was eventually it's gonna come up and I just gotta be ready for it.
Yeah. Now this opportunity with the XFL, I know it's somewhere for this overload of players to play, and I think it's great. Because they can only take so many in the NFL. Do it also help coaches as well? Have coaches left this league and moved up to the next league?
Yeah, it's been an opportunity for everyone, coaches, and like you said, the players and the coaches as well. And then, I know for us, we've had our equipment person, get opportunities back into the NFL. All our trainers have gotten opportunities to go back to the NFL. Our strength coaches have gotten opportunity to go back to the NFL or have gone to the NFL. So yeah, it's not just for the coaches itself or the players. It's for everybody that's a part of the organization. And that's what this league have done is created value for everyone.
And keep everybody playing, keep everybody employed as well. I thought the Rock,
Absolutely.
That was one of the things the Rock always talked about was guys that if they don't make the NFL, some of them don't have nowhere to go, until they at least can get on their feet. And, I know financial wise, I heard they had to make a lot of cuts and all that kind of stuff, but I think it's still good. Some close friends of mine, Brett Maxey, he works for I think it's the Houston Roughnecks.
Mm-hmm,
I think he's down there. So I think it's helped a lot of people out. Besides this opportunity that you might get to go back to your alma mater in between, you never know, what's next for Shannon Harris.
Yeah, you never know. And like you said, with the league, man, it's giving guys that opportunity. Yeah, some of it had pay cuts and things like that, but you still have opportunity to create that value for yourself. And so when these opportunities weren't there before, what you have. So now, while the resources are here, the league is here. You got to take full-fledged advantage of it, and that's me. Right now, to have the opportunity of being a head coach. It's continued to work my craft now as a head coach in all aspect of my coaching game, coaching career, my coaching, the way I go about handling it and all those things. So I'm just, grateful for this opportunity to be able to do that. And I tell you, man, the college game is so different now, I mean, it's hard to keep your players nowadays, with the NIL and all that stuff. So that's a whole nother monster that has been created. And so the recruiting is totally different now. Everyone want to hand out when it comes to money and things like that. So so you have to be strategic in how you handle all those things. But the thing that's next for me, coach, is really just stay the course where I am, try to continue to be great where I am, and then everything else I'll let the chips lay where they may.
Well, going back to Tennessee State, now it's a bunch of Tennessee State great quarterbacks. Do you know one of the quarterbacks was out of Mississippi? I used to watch him play.
Yeah, Joe Adams, 747.
747.
Yeah, man. He and I, we talk, often, and so and talk about other players, other places, and things like that. So he's been a great guy to get to know, and man, I love talking with him and just to hear his experience through it all. But he was a great one for sure.
Yeah, I had an opportunity when I was there to work with Joe Adams, Jefferson Street.
Yeah,
and just the things that we, the talks that we had while I was coaching, and of course, Leon came up under him. Man, it's great. I mean, it's one thing about Tennessee State, and to be talking to you as well from a little kid watching Tennessee State play Central State back from the 70s to the 80s, man. You just another one of those brilliant quarterbacks that come out of Tennessee State, man. I think that's a token and something you should keep dear to you. And of course, I'm still mad that you broke my record so fast, but hey, man, I wouldn't have nobody else to do it but you. And following your career, I could see why you done the things that you have done in your career, man. And I look to see that you're gonna do some other great things too. This is just the beginning.
Yes, sir. I appreciate that, Coach. And I tell you, when I first got to Tennessee State, to your point, and I got an opportunity to get there, and the first thing I did was look in the record books and see who all had records. And I was like, man, there's some great quarterbacks through here. They threw for a lot of yards, a lot of touchdowns. So I got some work to do, man. So that's what motivated me the most, man, to see all the great quarterbacks that come through Tennessee State. And to see the things they've done, not just at Tennessee State, but even in their career going into the next level and pro ball. So I knew I had my work cut out, and I had to go in there and just grind and keep my head down, stay away from all the distractions. So I went in there with a straight mindset, man, and stay focused and get the work done.
Yeah, let me put you on the spot for a minute. I have to put you on the spot. For some reason, since you're alumnus of Tennessee State, why they don't honor the 98-99 team?
Why don't they?
Yeah, why they don't? They don't talk about it none. I know they, Eddie George came in, he won the championship, and I had the boys put me up to it. So since you was on the spot, I might as well ask Coach Harris.
Yeah, honestly, I don't know, but I will say the one thing that needs to happen is they have to be honored. And I'm gonna say this, even when I was coaching there, it's always one of those type of things to where, man, we got to get our own players back involved heavily, And so, and I mean, that's a great thing to do by getting the guys back involved, is honoring those guys who have came through there and done some great stuff. And then not only just to win championship, just think about the amount of guys that went on to the next level from those teams. I mean, on both sides of the ball. So you talking about a ton of dudes, man, playing NFL ball, and not just for free agency or 1 or 2 years. These guys played many, many, many years in the NFL, and so at all positions. So I mean, I still talk to all those guys, of course, and I do believe that they need to be honored a lot more for sure.
Yeah, we talked to Reginald, Coach Barlow, about it as well, and they got a group chat. The 98-99 teams, they got a group chat that they've been talking. Man, we've been talking on this group chat for 20 years.
Right.
and a lot of them have had kids that go on to Boston College, Harvard, going on to play ball and done great things, what I'm saying? And with you going back there, because I got love for Tennessee State as well. I mean,
no doubt.
I got my first start as an offensive coordinator on a Division 1A level, man, and it kind of
it was that nepotism that got him there, though, Coach Harris. He's not gonna tell him that. His mama got him that job, and
my mother's the one told me to leave
it. Right,
but. No, I just want to share that with you, because like I said, I still talk to some of the guys as well.
Yeah.
They really, really feel left out because, I talk about the teams in the early 80s, with Brian Ransom and Killebrew and Richard Dent and all those guys and Golden Tate, You know, I know all those cats. And those cats was throwing the football when throwing the football wasn't even popular.
Yeah, it wasn't a thing then. You're right. Yeah. I still talk with BR every once in a while as well, along with, 747. Of course, Mike, we are here in the league together. So, man, so many guys have come through there, man. A plethora of dudes, man. The list go on and on. Of course, like along with some of the other HBCUs and the SWAC and everything like that. So, all those guys, man,
you holding the record, baby. You got the seasonal. You got the seasonal record. And touchdowns
no, let me tell you this. And touchdown. But let me tell you this. So, the quarterback that I had, the kid that I had in 2019 ended up breaking my record. The quarterback that I had then when I was the offensive coordinator there. Yeah. Wow. So look, I said if anybody gonna break it, I need them to be a guy who I'm coaching.
Hey, Coach Harris, you've been very gracious. You committed to 30 minutes. You've been on here about 40, Coach. I want to thank you for and be respectful of your time and everything, man. I know you're in the middle of a championship run with the UFL. I know who I'll be rooting for in the playoffs, even though that DC name, being a Cowboy fan, really hurts me to even say. I'm sure you get a lot of
that. Yeah. The Commanders gonna be tough, man. They're tough dudes, man. I tell you, Jaden James done really done some great things there. But Cowboys done made some. They done signed some good players, so give Dak and the other guys some toys to play with out there too. So, yeah.
Now, are y'all opening up at home? Do y'all play at home the next 2 weeks? Any home game?
No. Well, we play at home this weekend, and be Friday night on Fox. It's 8 p.m. Eastern game, so 7 Central, and then the playoffs start June 8th. And
but y'all play out in DC. I keep forgetting. I'm thinking.
Yeah, we play out.
I'm gonna be in Texas this week.
Yeah, so first playoff game will be at St. Louis against St. Louis. Yep.
That'll be interesting, Coach. And when y'all win that game, you'll be playing for it all. And that's 2 weeks later, Coach.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, they already got the.
Where do they play that championship game at, Coach?
It'll be at St. Louis as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's the semifinals and then it's the finals.
Then the finals. That's correct. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you, Coach, man. Appreciate you. You tell all the coaches, all the guys I work with, man, good luck this week. I know you guys are winners. I know you'll get it done, or at least be prepared to get it done.
That's right. Yep. And I really appreciate you all having me on, man. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Coach.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
All right, Coach. Hey, you never disappoint, man, Coach. You know all the winners, Coach. You know all the winners.
Man,
which brings me to a point to this and I'll ask Campbell this. I'm not gonna even ask a HBCU coach because I know his answer is gonna be biased, Coach. How do we let guys like impressive guys like Shannon Harris escape the HBCU fold, Coach?
Well, let's be honest. Life is about opportunities. And Coach knows this. There are only so many opportunities. And when you got, and I hate that, I wanted to get, because Coach Harris did one thing that I thought was amazing. He did what coaches like Coach Cole tell all his players: make the most of your opportunity. This coach went, got his degree, went and became an intern in the Tennessee Titans, doing film study, starting at the bottom, moving up to his next school, doing the same thing, moving up, building his craft. And now look at him, he's a head coach. That is something all of our players can point to. That's something that they can do. Now, everybody can't be Walter Payton and Jerry Rice, but people can be Coach Harris. And that's the thing about, but I think honestly, it has a lot to do about opportunity. It has a lot to do, again, coaches know coaches. Like I say, he just said it. I'm assuming that he said, hey, that I won't be with the family. I'm going to go down there with Coach Barlow at Tennessee State. Well, why is that? Because he has a relationship. So a lot of this has to do with relationships also. So I think, again, what we have to do is have ADs. See, what I would do if I'm an AD and I'm watching this interview, he's going to be on my short list. So if I don't like the coach I got, or I know I need a coach, I'm going to interview this guy. Because to me, He's young, he's smart, and like I say, and again, and I wanted to be very honest about him. I didn't show it to be messy because that's not my thing. What I showed was the passion of his players that rallied behind him. And also, again, hey, man, this man from Wigan, Mississippi, you ain't going to call me no dough man, bro. That ain't happening. Yeah. So I think that really rocking, honestly, that's what it has a lot to do with and things like that. But I'm just excited because he's going to be a head coach on the HBCU school very soon. No doubt about it.
Well, you know, and the reason why, because when I first started being part of the HBCU fan base, one of the things one of the conversations that happened very early on the off-script channel was recycling the coaches and how much the fan base didn't appreciate that. Well, I'm learning now, Coach, that recycling coaches ended up being a choice that administrators made because there is a deep talent pool, or there has been a deep talent pool in HBCU coaching, right? However, they've just chosen or chose to hire guys with head coaching experience rather than giving a guy with not much experience or a guy who's been an assistant or a coordinator an opportunity. You know.
Roger, let me ask you this question. I don't mean to cut you off, but do you think it's recycled now when you look at all the coaches?
No.
Yeah, you can't say that now, can you?
No. You know, the recycling question lasted about 2 years.
and look at the talent level. It's because those kids like Harris, who have been behind good coaches, you know, he's at Tennessee State, he's been at Alabama State, he's been at Hampton. Alcorn championship. You know, he knows what it looks like. When you are guys with no experience, man, it's you know, you're asking to lose, and it's nowhere it's been successful at. You know, besides probably, of course, everybody would say Dion, but you know, he was around and he had the expense and the smartness to hire a bunch of great coaches around it.
Well, Coach, as we talk about this, my question would be, is this. Let's take Dion out of the equation, because I think Dion had a specific skill set and access to resources that most coaches aren't going to come in with. So I
totally agree.
Yeah, so let's take him out of the mix. Let's take a regular coach, right? And there's been several regular coaching hires, right? And I'll go back to two that when the recycling conversation happened, it happened around hiring guys like Eric Dooley at Southern. When Southern was struggling, you took Eric Dooley, who wasn't a championship head coach, but he had been on some championships, right? And he gets the Southern job, right? Unfortunately for him, that didn't work out. But a lot of people in the HBCU space predicted that it wouldn't work out. You know, even though that's who the fan base wanted. That's one of the ones that the fan base made it. Wouldn't you agree, Campbell, that the fan base made that choice of Eric Dooley and it didn't work out? It really wasn't. Yeah, because in their mind, he was somebody. He was a local home. Well, he wasn't from Baton Rouge, New Orleans, but you know, somebody that they knew and things like that. And listen, hold on, let's be okay. In fairness to Coach Dooley, because I know he gets a lot of hell. He was the offensive coordinator on 2 SWAC championship teams. Moved over to Prairie View. They won the West, so his resume was not like it was empty. Okay, let's be honest. No, but he was still building at Prairie View. He already had a job, Coach. My point is, he already had a job, right? And he hadn't done anything transformational as a head coach, right? To where he had to have a blue blood job. You understand? Blue blood program. That's all I was saying. But that's what kind of happens. You listen. You buy low and sell high. So it's the trend thing. You know what I mean? So he was trending in the right direction. Again, 2-time SWAC champion at Grambling, Celebration Bowl winner, Prairie View that is also ran and gotten them to the chance. Southern's like, well, shoot, if he could do this with Prairie View, he definitely, with all the assets that we have in the Southern University, we should be able to be the same thing. And then let's keep it a buck, he took Southern to the SWAC championship. So, I mean, you know, again,
when you kind of look at it, if you just did a blind taste test and look at it, his 5-year run between Grambling and all the way that, he just had one bad season.
Let me say this. One of our guests said it best. Chennisberry, Tremaine Jackson, Sam Shade, to me, that should be what I'm looking for. You know, guys that have started off and been successful and moved up. You know, if he even started from high school or started from assistant coach and moved to a coordinator's job, those are guys that blueprint is a great blueprint to have. And you see their success. You know, they've seen success. See, it's one thing, guys, that as a fan, and you sitting back and you in the stands and you watching, oh man, those are big old guys. You know what I mean? Or I've seen guys that even came up underneath my tree that I didn't think was ready to be a head coach, took some head coaching jobs and weren't successful because they get in the habit of trying to match every team they see to the team that won championships. You know, it's a flavor. It's some positions that you see that you have that you really know that you've came to fruition of. Now this is the team. This is the team going to take us, and you can see the progress. You know what I mean? You can see the progress. Like when we first went at Alabama State, man, we had nobody there the first year for summer workout until we had to get rid of the concert and start bringing in guys that knew how to win. And you went from having little bitty guys in summer to damn near your whole team in summer school. But they were there to get better. So instead of us coming into the fall trying to get in shape, we just came into the fall, you know, in shape and ready to go so we could move further and faster in our playbook.
Well, it's something you said about Tremaine in one of the conversations that we had offline, Coach, when he was being considered for a number of jobs around HBCU football. You said that one thing you knew Coach Jackson knew. He knew the formula. He knew the ingredients of building a winner, right? And because he knew the ingredients, that gave him a leg up on a lot of guys that are currently coaching in the SWAC because he's seen it. He knows what it looks like. He's seen it put together. Coach, but I'll say this. It's how do you tell a guy who knows what the ingredients are versus a guy who knows how to cook it? You know what I mean? Those are two totally different things, Coach.
Exactly. That's why I said there's some guys that came out underneath me and my brother's tree that when his head coaches, it stunk it up. Because some of the things that we value on putting together a football team, some coaches don't value. You know, some coaches don't value. I don't like flip-flops. I like your pants on you. I like for the kids to be shaved. Some coaches don't value that. We've had that on this show, huh, Bishop? Man, yeah. Coach, you tell me he can't wear no dreads? Shit, man, hey, I don't know. It worked for me. You know what I'm saying? Everywhere I've been. But some coaches don't value that. Some coaches think, hey, let the players be who they want to be.
Well, Coach, in defense of you, because I don't want this. Here's what I would say, though. But I think, again, if somebody gave you a coaching job, I think that you would understand, because there's a difference between looking sloppy and any haircut being neat, right? That's right. I think you would also evolve with the culture, because honestly, you would have to. So I think you would be able to have, because you can be disciplined and a kid can have dreads. You know what I'm saying? And the kid could be a 4.0 student and be a leader of a team. So I want to give you credit. I don't want people to think that Cole would be like, you got to wear a high top fade, you know what I mean? Skin high, high and tight, and only way to win. So I want to give you
no.
Yeah, because I think people misquote. I think what people do, they misquote. They missed the underlying quote. It's about the discipline that you're looking for, about being uniform, about showing up on time, about properly dressed. You know what I mean? People ran with the hair thing, not understanding it was more of an overall thing. And I want to be clear on that because listen, we in this new, and every time you come on here, you're interviewing. I want people to understand that if somebody see you, that you can still coach. So I just want to clear that up.
Oh, shoot. Well, Coach, man, I mean, it's in my blood. Hell, I like to tell people I had a ball in my hand before I even knew my name. So, you know, and it wasn't because of me. It's because I came behind eight fabulous men. So I appreciate that. But
hey, Coach Cole, I'm gonna set up. We set up to get out of here a little early, but I'm gonna open up the phone lines in case anybody want to call and have a comment, anything that was said or heard today. Before we get out of here,
I do want to bring up one thing.
Go ahead.
And I don't know, Coach, you might have missed this. So we had a little bit of an issue on social media and about fake news. And I'm going to pull this up because I think what our show does is give a lot of information. So I'm going to share my screen again and show you a tweet that was talking about my AD. Did that come up?
Yeah.
Okay. So, okay, wait a minute. I wonder. Oh, there we go. All right. So, Coach, this particular Twitter platform called HBCU Premier Sports, they put this out yesterday morning. HBCU Premier Sports will be dropping the disturbing news this evening out of Florida A&M athletics. Sometimes you can't sweep things under the rug, and some things need to be reported. Now, Coach, we didn't know what the hell was going on. We didn't know if we had a violation. We didn't know if somebody had stolen some money and things like this. So, Coach, come to find out that this particular platform has saw a video of a young man. We had a player that got hurt at the SWAC tournament.
Tournament.
SWAC baseball tournament. And the young man was just speaking and saying it. And because he did not say our AD name, this man took it upon himself basically to impugn the integrity of my AD. And Coach, I'm gonna say this. We talk about this a lot of times about this. This is why people like this platform. But I got to put this out because I'm gonna say this. When you come on and say that you're an HBCU platform, and then you put out fake news and lies, you're not supporting the cause that you call yourself. And the thing that was most disappointing is when people showed that the young man's parents had thanked the athletic staff, family, and the AD. He still was not man enough to say, you know what, I made a mistake. I apologize to AD Suggs and the Florida A&M University.
And
so,
when
Coach,
when you say this man, who's HBCU Premier?
Well, we don't know exactly his name. We know it's a guy, and he hides behind this particular his account. Correct.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to say that because what's so important what we do here is that, you know, a lot of people can do the way we do it. But the one thing about HBCU Corner, we always about facts. And this bothered me, not because I know AD Suggs and she's been a guest on the show, but this is the reason why a lot of times, Coach, we talk about this, is that we are sometimes our own worst enemy. When we should be uplifting and supporting when we're looking for gotcha stuff. So it was just disappointing. And the fact that, again, this person would not then turn around and make a retraction and say, hey, you know, I got it wrong. I've got, you know, various accounts that the young man's parents and himself appreciate what Florida A&M did. And then just, you know, then blocked everybody. But the reason why, again, I wanted to point that out is because, Coach, I appreciate you bringing on these coaches because to Rocky's point sometime, and I think Rocky understands this, we don't know these coaches. We only see them from the outside. We make a lot of assumptions. The fans make a lot of assumptions. There are a lot of untruths about our HBCU coaches, but they get to come on this show and then they get to see another side of the coaches. And then they talk about some of the challenges that they have. Because a lot of people on the outside do not know, and Coach, you know this, a lot of people that sit on stand have no clue how hard your job is. They have no clue.
You know, Mr. Campbell, the thing that bothered me about this story wasn't necessarily the false accusation or the implied mismanagement of a situation by your AD. That's not what bothered me. What bothered me was they used a terrible, tragic situation and tried to co-opt it in order to damage the reputation of Florida A&M and the AD. The young man had a horrible injury, and come to find out he had to have multiple surgeries. But now he has to be put in a position where he almost has to defend the people that cared for him in that situation. You know what I mean? The people that did come see him, the people that did come visit him, the people that, you know what I mean? Like he has to say something, or his family has to say something in the midst of this very trying time. That's what I think is quite frankly despicable and disgusting, that this account holder would use this particular situation to try to, imply that FAMU did something improper along with AD Suggs. Like there's something else there, with this story, when it was just an unfortunate, freakish accident that ended the kid's career. And that's so unfortunate. And his family has to deal with that.
Rocky, I couldn't have said it any better. And the thing about it, which, like you said, when you write this salacious headline, swept under the rug, like something was being hidden, like something was done wrong. And then all you have is a video of the young man just talking, about and thanking people, and that he's going to be all right and move forward with his life. I just think that this is just the worst part of, like I said, what I hate about social media. And again, it just bothers me. So like I said, again, I just want to bring that up. I know we got people, like I said, they want to call in. Please do call in, and we do want to hear from him. But Coach, I appreciate you just giving me a time, because I just want to address this, because a lot of people ask me about this, and like I say, it's just disappointing, because again, and what the thing about it is, and I'm gonna say this for AD Suggs, because I know she talked about this on this show. She was like, "Hey, I rode on the bus with these guys, and I want to make sure all of our student athletes are taken care of." And then to use this picture of her and to say she's sweeping things on the rug, I just can't condone that. And I hope this person understands why he will never get any support for any of us. So, Coach, I appreciate you just letting me do my FAMU minute and that part of the show.
We gonna just make that a permanent. Hey, Rocky, I just sent you something. Can you put that up on the board? I just emailed y'all.
You emailed it to me?
I mean, text it.
Okay, let me look at it.
Or do I need to email?
No, you good.
And while you're doing it, I want to let everybody know the 16th annual Black College Football Hall of Fame inductee ceremony will commence on June the 7th, 2025 at the College Football Hall of Fame in Atlanta, Georgia, beginning at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time. The Black College Football Hall of Fame inductee ceremony is presented by the hometown Atlanta Falcons. Listed below are the Hall of Famers: Henry Dyer, Grambling State; Fred T. Pop Long, Wiley College; Jacquay Nunley, Florida A&M; Rayshawn Mathis, Bethune-Cookman; Dominique Roger Cromartie, Tennessee State; Jay Skywalker, Howard University. Everybody knows him as the face of the 5 and 5. So those guys are going to be inducted this coming next week at the Hall of Fame, and I'm planning on being there to the inductee ceremony.
Yeah, this is a great event. I wish I could attend, but due to work obligations, I won't be able to make it. But this is a sensational event, and again, I really wish I could be here, because this is something. This is us honoring us. Doug talked about this while he was on the show, and it seemed like it's being done in such a classy way. Being the sports fan that I am, knowing several of the inductees that'll be honored, I really wish I could be there. But I'm glad Coach Cole will be in attendance, and with it being in Atlanta, who knows, they may get a visit by the bishop.
Yeah, and that's Lenny Moon, one of the media personnel out of Houston, Texas. He has not only a lot to do with this Black College Hall of Fame, he also has a lot to do with the NFL Hall of Fame, who's a real great friend of mine.
Hey, Rocky, go up because there's one person on this, well, several, but there you go. I want you to highlight Coach Pop Long.
Yeah.
And I just want you guys to understand something, how that down there at University of Texas and that team, I want you to understand before our athletes, listen to this man won 10 SWAC titles, 23, 27, 28, 29, 30, 32, 44, 45, 56, and 57. Rocket, those players were the players that couldn't get into the University of Texas. I want people to understand that. The level of talent that is down there. And that's why when I look at a prayer.
That's out in East Texas, too, in Marshall.
Thank you. And to think about, because they did not have the opportunity, and we provide the opportunity to look at the powerhouse. And could you imagine the talent on that team to run through the SWAC and beat these people? And look at Texas, they would never, of course, back then, it would never happen. And what they would have done to the University of Texas or Texas A&M with that level of talent probably on that team. So these are things that when you see forefathers like this, that's what I take pride in our history. Because, Coach, as you know, before, I'm glad all these guys get opportunities and they get NIL and they can go to Georgia and Florida and all blah, blah, blah. I get it. I understand it's a new world. But if it wasn't for Coach Pop Long, it would not be any of these guys that could do this.
Yeah.
That's the thing about it. So again, I just wanted to just point that out, because when I saw that, because I had heard, because again, you get to some of the old heads from Wiley College, they'll tell you about Coach Long and how they used to dominate the SWAC and everything. So that's why I just wanted to point that out. And again, Jacquez Nunley, part of the Rack Boys, hey man, it's a players coach, and it's several players on this list. Well, big time. Rasheed Matthews, an NFL guy, big time. Roger Camardi, NFL guy, Tennessee State. These are big names, big name football players, man. And these guys are NFL guys, Coach.
And of course, this is probably the highlight of the induction, not because he's the best football player of all of them, because of what he means to the culture. Jay Scott Walker has, branded himself, in my opinion, or the culture has branded himself as Mr. HBCU football. And he does a great job when broadcasting those games on ESPN.
Yeah. I will say this. We respect Jay. We don't like Jay. That's more of a FAMU thing. Jay Walker's amazing. He does a great job. Shout out to Timothy Green, FAMU rally that he works with. But Jay definitely understands and he pushes the culture forward. And I like the fact that he does like to play the villain sometimes. He leans into it.
I'm gonna get him on the show.
Hey, that's what I was gonna say, Coach. Coach, if you can, Coach, if you can't get them, they can't be got, Coach. That's what I say. If you can't get them, they can't be got. But y'all, that is a great that's a great thing to have a Black College Hall of Fame, man. Again, maybe I can put this on my calendar in future years, and we can make it a whole thing, Coach. Because we were invited by Doug, and make sure you tell Doug I really wanted to be there. I just wasn't able to.
Yeah. Let me say this to you guys, and Todd said it as well on how they got some guys and kept some guys together. I hear a lot of coaches always talk about recruiting. And if we don't get this player, we got to pay this player. Now players is, I need an apartment, I need a house, I need a, and I told you guys, and I'll go to the moon with it, that programs beat talent all the time, and it's enough kids out there to find 22 that can play. You know what I'm saying? They might not have the size, but they got the wheel. You know what I mean? They might just need that one coach just to push them a little edge. They got the talent. They got the ability. It's about finding team players that one come and go. Do you have to have a couple studs? Yes, I'll be the last one to say you just can't go in there with a bunch of Army men. But it's enough players out there. You just got to be a good coach, understand and recognize talent, run a good tight ship program, making sure everybody think alike, be alike. You can't control whether they like each other. At least they'll like each other for 3 hours on Saturday, and that's what's important. So,
is there any truth? Is there any truth to this, Coach Cole?
No, but I can find out real quick. You know what I mean?
What about you, historian Campbell? Is there any truth to that?
Was Maryland James. Now that I don't know. I do not know that. I can't tell you that. But let me say this. If Emmett Jones said it, Emmett Jones. Wait a minute, hold on. I'm gonna say this. Emmett ain't no youngster. He knows his SWAC history. So if Emmett said it, it probably is true. Because Emmett ain't new to this.
Reason why I'd never heard that before.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty. If Emmett's saying that, I'm pretty sure that's probably true.
And we talking James Shaq Harris, right?
Yeah, I'm sure.
Oh, that's the 20. That's one of my favorites.
Hey,
yeah,
I definitely have to call in that favor because I've been around all of them, and that never came up.
That was
one of my favorites, man.
Hey, Coach, I want to ask you a question though before we get off. What do you think? Because I do hear this a lot, and this even happens at the Power 5 level. Why do you think there is a disconnect with schools and former players at some of the schools? Like I said, this even happens at the Power 5 level because I remember at the University of Miami at one time they said, "Oh, the guys wasn't coming back," and Florida State they wasn't coming back. You know, so I've heard this at various schools. What do you think that's about, Coach? What is that? When that is your lifeblood, there's no better recruiter than guys that play. It's really championship guys that can come back and talk to the younger guy and also fire up the alumni. Because again, when you bring those guys back, the alumni actually went to school with them or saw them play. So why do you think there's a disconnect like that with the administration and former players?
It always about character and how you handle yourself coming through the program, you know. And if you know, y'all hear me always talk about if you're a cerebral player, you know, if you're a team guy, can I trust you once you leave the field? And I think that's the difference between HBCU on the coaching side as opposed to at the major schools. At the major schools, it's about win, win, win. And if you're an asshole, but you can perform on the field, then we're going to let you be an asshole all through the week, but on Saturday, we're going to still play you. Now, once I'm done playing with you, then I'm done with you. I hear a lot of kids, you know, I'm from Ohio, and I went to school with a lot of guys that played at Ohio State, even players after I left, they come back, and they say, you know, they have no connection with the school. You know what I mean? And that's all through the country. I mean, even when I was coming through and comparing my days at Texas Southern to guys I knew and started hanging out with from A&M and Baylor and Texas, it just ain't no comparison, you know. And I think if you're not cerebral, meaning, yeah, I want to know what the equipment guy do. I want to know what coaches do out after this. I want to know what goes on in putting the program together instead of just being a player. You know, come in, get dressed, go out, knock some head, then after that, I'm gone. So I think a lot of that has to do with the culture. And if you're not into the culture, then 9 times out of 10, once you get through playing, you're done. I mean, my brother was the first African-American captain at the University of Nebraska. Of course, they've never had a head coach in no sport, except for the interim in college football, and we've had him on our show. So if it ain't no culture and ain't nobody embracing you, I mean, what do you have? And then when some of the brothers do get embraced and do get into that realm, they just stay. They don't bring nobody with them. They'll be the only guy there or the only two there. When I was at the University of Cincinnati, they had 2 black coaches. You know, me on offense, one on defense. That's just how it is. That's just how it's been. Is it getting better? Yes. But it's baby steps. You know, it's baby steps. You asked the question of Rocky, Tim is like, man, we got all these great quarterbacks, which we do. You know, Shannon Harris and Terrenio Morgan and all these guys, man, that we've had come out of the SWAC, the MEAC, that are quarterback guys, gurus, had great careers, you know, and then they turn out and coach quarterbacks. We don't know nothing about them. If they don't talk on this show, what show do they have to talk on? And we the only HBCU show that actually talk to real coaches on a consistent basis.
And
So,
Coach, and that's a big, Coach, and that is such a big thing, because I got a phone call from somebody that played with Coach Totten, and just hadn't talked to him or anything, and said, man, just to see him, because he's like, hey, we were young guys, and to see him on this show, he said, man, I haven't seen him interviewed anywhere. I always wondered, you know what I mean? And he said, I hadn't seen it. Now, mind you, this is 40 years, and this is what, and again, and like I said, Rock, I know you just don't understand, but Coach understand, this is Willie Totten. You know what I'm saying?
I understand.
Yeah. And I'm saying that respect. This is Willie Totten.
Coach, you talking about a man threw for 5,300 yards.
And you talk about a name and what he brought to, I mean, he's a historical figure. That's the thing about it. And to interview him and to allow him to talk about, again, for me to bring him through that 84 season, which was their magical season, and to him to talk about it in depth and things like that. So many people like, man, I just had to relive that. I remember that when they beat Jack State. I remember when they lost to Alcorn. I remember when they were scoring at 85 points. All these things.
I hate to even say this. Would you, if he graduated from your school and done all that, coach football, would you, if you had an athletic director's job open, would you give it to him?
Would I give it to Willie Totten?
Yeah.
Hell, I give him the shot. Yeah, they give everybody else a shot.
Well, Mississippi Valley didn't let him be the AD. His name is on the stadium. When the AD job opened up, he applied, he interviewed, and they did not give him the head.
Yeah, and let me say this. Okay, well, let me also say this.
That's us, though. See, that's us.
But hold on, but see, this is even worse about that. First of all, and no disrespect, but this is gonna be disrespect. It's Mississippi Valley. You don't have that many people of that high caliber with that name recognition. It'd be different again. If you Jackson State, you got a whole bunch of people that's applying for that job. You Florida A&M, you got a whole bunch of people applying for that job. You Southern, so just the fact that it's 50-60% of people, if Florida A&M, Jackson State, Southern open up, Texas Southern, you know what I'm saying? The name school, Alabama State, you got a whole bunch of people across the country. How many people, honestly, of that level of care and concern, and the man is educated? Okay, let's not get it twisted.
And he got Jerry Rice was going back. He made a call.
So
and his name is on the stadium. And you don't name him the athletic director?
Well, let me say this, guys. One thing that I think is sometimes how HBCUs miss the boat with their prominent alumni, I'll just say prominent alumni, is they wouldn't let Willie Totten serve as an OC of Fort Valley without offering him a prominent role at Mississippi Valley, at least in the capacity of shaking hands and kissing babies, raising money for the school. They're not going to let him work for Fort Valley full time because they know what his value is to Mississippi Valley. You understand what I'm saying? It's not that you're giving a guy a job. It's just that in the state of Mississippi, in college football, Willie Totten can get in rooms that just frankly other people can't get into. And I'm talking about those rooms where there's fundraisers, where there's supporters, where there are business opportunities. And at the end of the day,
my name is JM&E, and I want $500 for lunch for keeping up with the Jonas Bracket Challenge.
BS3 Network, changing the way you watch TV.